Artemis 2, right? It has us all thinking about the cosmos. And now a rare Sungrazer comet is making its approach to the sun tonight. We could see it in the night sky later this week if it survives the close encounter with our local star. Joining us now is Joe Rao from Hayden Planetarium. He's an associate there and joining us now. Thank you so much. This is such an exciting time. You really speak our language too. You're also a meteorologist. So let's dive into this. What is a Sungrazer comet and why are they so rare?
They are rather rare. They belong to, this particular one belongs to a group known as the Kreutz Sungrazers. We had an astronomer, a German astronomer back in the 19th century, Heinrich Kreutz, who theorized, and we believe that that is the case, that there was a big comet, a huge comet, about 1,000 years ago that passed very close to the sun and broke up into many pieces. And those pieces are now orbiting around the sun in basically the same orbit. They range in size from, perhaps the size of a minivan to several miles across. And when these comets come very close to the sun, if it's a sizable size, large enough to survive its close passage around the sun, it can, in some cases, put on a spectacular show. Unfortunately, Melanie, right now, this particular hour is the moment of truth for this comet, Comet MAPS. It is passing very, very close to the sun, within 100,000 miles of the surface of the sun. It is inside of the solar corona, which means that right now, as I speak to you, it's being subjected to temperatures of about 2 million degrees Fahrenheit. That plus the tremendous tidal and gravitational force of the sun is literally getting, or the sun is attempting to literally rip this thing apart. If it happens to survive, and that's a very, very big if, then as the comet whirls around the sun and comes back out later today and tomorrow, if it does survive, it might be able to put on a show for many of us in the western sky after sunset, beginning about the middle of this week. But that is a big, big if. Again, it's being subjected to tremendous temperatures, tremendous tidal and gravitational forces. And there are many of us who believe that this comet may not survive. In fact, we've been looking at it with the various spacecraft that take a look at the sun close up. We saw the comet head directly toward the sun. It's now in the occulting disk, if you will, of the photograph, so that we're not able to see it, but we're hoping that we will be able to see it come back out the other side later on in the day. That'll tell us that if indeed it does survive, that we will have a chance to see something. But if we don't see anything later today, there isn't going to be anything to see next week.
Hey, you're the expert on this, so can you give us a % chance? What do you think? Are we going to be able to see it? Do you think it does survive?
You know, in the final few frames of the SOHO satellite loop that we've been watching as the comet has been approaching, in the final few frames, it looks like it was beginning to sputter, so to speak, beginning to get dimmer. You see on your screen there an example of not this comet, but another comet. These comets, as I said, are relatively fragile. And you may say to yourself, well, how is it possible that they could, survive being so close to the sun? Again, this one within 100,000 miles of the solar surface. It does that because the closer an object is to the sun, the faster it must travel in its orbit. Gravity insists upon that. That's fundamental natural law. At the moment, as I speak to you now, this comet is whirling a hairpin turn around the sun at a speed, now get this, 300 miles per second. At that speed, you can go from Boston to San Diego in 10 seconds. The Artemis astronauts who are heading to the moon, they've taken 5 days to get to the vicinity of the moon. If this comet were traveling toward the moon, it would make it in 12 minutes. That's how quickly this comet is moving now. And that's the only way it can survive, is to move very, very quickly as it whirls around the sun and moves back out into space. And again, the big question is, will it indeed survive? Can it survive? We'll know the answer to those questions a little bit later on as we continue to monitor and watch it. And like I said, if we don't see anything come back out behind the sun later today in the solar satellite images, we'll know that Comet MAPS met its end, unfortunately, because of the, again, extreme solar heat, the extreme gravitational pull of the sun.
It's so fascinating how fast it moves. I imagine that whether or not the comet survives, there's still plenty that we can learn about our solar system.
Well, if it, the funny thing is, if the comet, the head of the comet does not survive, if it gets ripped apart, there's still a chance that we might see something next week. It may not necessarily have a head, but the debris, the tail of the comet may be evident in our sky again about the middle of next week. Again, about, let's say, 40 or 50 minutes after sundown, you look over into the western sky, you'll see the planet Venus, which is very, very brilliant, the most brilliant planet in our nighttime sky. It's out there now in the west right after sunset. If you look below and to the left of Venus, if you happen to see what looks like I guess, an airplane contrail protruding up from the horizon about Wednesday or Thursday of next week after sundown, that will be what's all that's left of the comet. The trail of dusty debris left behind in the destruction of the comet head. We've had a couple of comets in the past, one in 1887 and one more recently in 2011, which we were able to see the tail, but the head was gone because, again, the sun ripped apart and destroyed the head. In fact, the comet in 1887, they were able to see the tail. They referred to it as the headless wonder because you couldn't see the comet head, but you were able to see the remnant effects of the tail.
So fascinating. You're a wealth of knowledge, and there's just so many celestial events that are happening this month. So a good time to be interested in space. Thank you so much. That's Joe Rao of New York's Hayden Planetarium. Thanks for joining us.
Fine.